Do you think racism will ever be eradicated from the game?
That's a huge open-ended question. You might say, will racism ever be eradicated from society? And I think what one's going to look for is a positive direction of travel, which I think we have. I think the education within the game is so important. Will it ever be completely eradicated? I can't answer that. I sincerely hope so. It's one of our absolutely top priorities, and we are doing. I think you know my own commitment on this particular issue of inclusivity and racism. I couldn't feel more strong about anything that I do about this. So we are doing everything we can. Can I predict what will happen? No.
David, you're obviously aware of the high-profile protests on the same subject over the weekend, with some of the top players not wearing the kick it out T-shirts.
Yes.
The perceived wisdom is that was a stance against the FA and their leniency in the John Terry case recently. Do you feel uncomfortable about that? I'm
uncomfortable that people feel uncomfortable. Yes, but I feel that we, and I've plenty of time to reflect on this. I feel that overall the FA has handled recent issues, not just John Terry, actually very well. I'm very comfortable with what we've done. I know the Terry thing took much longer than anybody would want, and of course nobody wanted the thing to drag on for a year, but there was exceptional circumstances. It's easy with hindsight. It was a very particular situation, but if it was to happen again and we were asked by the authorities to delay our process for legal reasons, would we do it again? Possibly. I certainly wouldn't rule it out. I, for one, am very respectful of the law and the legal process. With regard to Kick It Out, we support Kick It Out in every respect, both sort of morally and financially. I know I've got to know Lord Ouseley very well. I think he's done fantastic work over the last 20 years. He's given me a pretty hard time over some things. The very first week as chairman, I had an issue to deal with him, and he was very tough with us, but he's always been very fair as well. Do I hope that players will stay within Kick It Out and stay with it? Yes, I do. I think fragmentation would be a shame, but at the same time, I think we have to understand that on these moral issues, people have to be able to make their own choices. I respect, clearly, we all respect the ability of people to make their own choices. I hope it doesn't lead to any fragmentation. I think that would be in the interests of anybody.
The punishment of John Terry was seen in many areas to be lenient. Do you think, because the FA panel are obviously working to tariffs, to guidelines, is it time to look at those again?
I think it's on the agenda, let's say, to look at it again. Yes, I think there's a number of things coming out of recent events that we need to look at again. I mean, the FA received a certain, probably limited degree of criticism for some of its processes in the Terry thing. We will look at those. We will look at those afresh. I think we're bound to, and I think the tariffs probably will need looking at. But I think, given the existing scenario and given other punishments elsewhere, actually, the Commission got it pretty much right. And I just want to emphasise, as we do every time, an independent commission making independent judgments with no influence whatsoever from myself, Alex, or anybody else on the executive side of the FA.